What up, America? What up, world? Welcome to A Better Black America podcast, the number one urban podcast stateside and worldwide. Now, today is Monday, June 6th, 2022. Now, timing is everything. Now, right now is the right time for regime change and nation build Black America. Now, we're not playing today. Now, moving forward, you are going to really start to understand the instructions that's being presented, because God's people shall not perish due to the lack of knowledge. And I'm going to say this again. God's people shall not perish due to the lack of knowledge. Now, the brand is A Better Black America, which is a better Black America for all. If Black America make an educated decision to put on their big boy drawers and panties and control our own communities, because clearly we know that we're America's good economics. We're a political branch for the Democratic Party. But for some strange reason, we seem to be the ones that get the most hurt, disrespect, pushed to the side, don't matter. Because right now, tomorrow is Tuesday. There's primaries. Nobody's talking about it because social media decided to step out of the politics realm because of the algorithm that was created, because of the things that we don't want to see are the things that they're compiling that information and pushing it to the side. And then there's some information and some data that's out there that, we have to pretty much frame in the perfect way and put it in a way where we can actually understand it, because the days of arguing and debating, it's over. Now, moving forward, we can't, get to a whole nother level if we do not have an assignment. And our assignment is to build and not destroy. That's the assignment. Build and not destroy. Because when we build, we have to eliminate destruction. And it's crazy that the political party that we associated with by relation, the first two letters of the party is a D and an E. So this is how we break the code. And that D and that E might not mean anybody, that's simple-minded. But those who understands numbers, letters, words, the universe really and truly understand. Because our level of consciousness has got us to a position where we can actually share the data with those who have no clue and actually convince them in the midst of. Because clearly what's going on right now, Black America is standing by and standing back when it comes to politics, because right now this is the lower voter turnout in history. Now, we have some mayoral races going on, some city council. OK, now we do have to vote. But if your conscience is not allowing you to freely go in there and do something that makes you feel good, you will not be punished by God by not doing anything. Because sometimes the best advice is to do nothing. Because when you stand still, you don't make a decision because your spirit didn't move you. But if you stand still long enough, consciously, subconsciously, you will really start to understand and connect with what's going on. You cannot be special by being influenced by bad influencers. You cannot change by continuing to repeat a behavior that has already been deemed suicidal over 50 years ago. And when I say suicidal, I mean genocidal to the Black race. In 1964, with the Civil Rights Acts, when we were supposed to get our true freedoms, believe me, they brought Planned Parenthood, who is represented by Margaret Sanger, who is the mother of Black genocide. God's people shall not perish due to the lack of knowledge. And our educators, these are the ones that are charged guilty by association. And now they are subjected to basically going to hell for being a part of a regime that was killing and continues to kill not only cultures, but God's people. the deep, dark melanated people, the former Negro, the former slave. And it's not former because on a federal level, there's a slavery clause that for some strange reason, the ambassadors or the representatives of the Democratic Party will not allow us to have a true conversation. Because the black race is the fuel, the only fuel that this Democratic Party has. President Joe Biden said it himself. This race is for the soul of America. So if you are a baby boomer, your soul is subjected. Because anybody that's not a baby boomer has taken their soul back, and they're not sitting back talking about vote for the lesser of the two evils. They're not saying which one is better. We don't have a decision to make because this country that we live in called America has to deal with its original sin, and that's slavery. And both parties are guilty. But in this case, one party is worse than the other. And it ain't the lesser of the two evils. It's the worst of the two evils. And it's the Democratic Party, which means demonic rule. Here we are, grown adults, living in time, knowing truthful facts. And how can we allow somebody to influence us to be a part of a political party that means ruled by the devil? We're not playing because that party has ruled us since Let's Make a Slave. Prior to that, they had no clue of what they do. But that document, that so-called meeting that happened in 1725 with Mr. Willie Lynch, the modest slave owner from the West Indies who came to the 13 colonies to teach American slave traders and slave masters how to make a Negro. And if you think it's not real, then why don't you look at Joe Biden's H.R. 55, Emmett Till Anti-Lynching Act? Why is his name on a bill in 2022? Blame that on the demonic rule Democratic Party. The devil knows that his party is over. The white liberal is the worst thing to black America, and all white liberals are supporters of the Democratic Party. Those same white liberals that went around with Black Lives Matters is the same white liberals that doing Pride right now. Them same white liberals that was with Black Lives Matters is the same white liberals that ran up in the White House. All they had to do was take off that Black Lives Matters t-shirt and that helmet that they was wearing and put on a Trump t-shirt and get a flag and blend right on in. And that's what assimilation is. Assimilation is where you can just change your shirt and blend in. But assimilation is a pipe dream for black Americans because we can't change our face. Because we got to smile and coon and buck. That's what we got to do. But moving forward, it's a new day. Today is June 6, 2022. 6 means equality. Now, equality is something that they're not going to give you if you don't really want it. We never really wanted equality. We just wanted to sit at the counter and eat with you. We just wanted to go to the same school with you. We just wanted to be able to live in your neighborhood. We just wanted to go places where y'all said we can't go. We just wanted to ride in the front of y'all buses. So now we're sitting right here in 2022 looking at the data and saying, wow, we have to regime change and nation build. Regime change. Who is the regime? The same regime that's been in power and had authority over black people here in these Americas, which is America's original sin, all the way back to 1600s, documented, archives, facts. What are we doing? What are we doing? Now, there are some things going on with generations now. Generation X, we have to identify what X actually means from a mathematical perspective, because prior to 10 years ago, 5 years ago, even prior to the election, you ask a baby boomer right now, what does Generation X mean? They'll say lost, like we lost and dumb. But we looking at our uncles, grandparents, and parents clearly are the lost ones because they are riding hook, line, and sinker with a political party that has been a lost cause for over 100 years. Now, I know without shadow of a doubt, people died to vote. And why did people die to vote? Because clearly they didn't want you to vote. So if they let you vote, boy, you're going to have to vote for this party, boy. And that's how it is. So what are we going to do? Now, we're going to have to stand up and be men. This is why alpha males are retiring early, getting into community activism, because we know without a shadow of a doubt, regime change is a must. They're doing it in our, why we in plain sight. They're doing it in plain sight. So we want to be a part of this. We see, the system being reset financially. We see the global issues that's going on. We see how the world can connect due to a pandemic by evildoers in high places. They're not sitting back just trying to figure out, how to, not make a move. Their whole purpose is to strategically be 2, 3, 4, even 5 steps ahead of us. Because if you really understand, they're projecting that we will not be here in the next 40 years. And that's coming out of the Nation of Islam. But see, the difference between the Nation of Islam and the Black American Christian is that the Black American Christian can challenge establishment, regime change, and hold our power for our communities. But when you're dealing in the Nation of Islam and, these other things that are deemed radical in this country, they can't do that. But we are blood-born Americans who've been paying taxes our entire lives. So now we're in a position to where we cannot sit back and allow these powers and principalities and evildoers in high places make decisions to continue to destroy us. Now, and I know without a shadow of a doubt, if you got to get up and go to work every day, pay them bills, if you got to get up and have a lot of pressure from your boss, your wife, your family, sales department, a lot of stress, I understand this is not for you. But I'm saying to you is support Generation X, because we will make sure when you guys get in your golden years will be much better than ours, because we still see the traps. The traps came under our watch. The assassin bullet is strong. One bullet can change an entire generation. So just imagine how many bullets flown in the 60s to make sure that you guys, that we will be right here today and have our parents and grandparents talking about, make sure you go out and vote. For who? Why is it that voting is the most lightly regarded thing to do when it comes to decision making? I've never taken a job and didn't think of who, what, where, when, why, and how. I never did a report when I didn't have to consider who, what, where, when, why, and how. I've never done anything or made an educated decision without looking at the facts. So this just because theory, that's critical race theory right there. It's a theory. They use that theory to convince us. And now that the theory is dead, we reject it. Now this regime change and nation bill, now the Democratic Party is dead. It should have been dead 100 years ago because it lost the Civil War. And a lot of us don't understand history, but why is history and law so connected? Because history framed laws. And you have to look at history to basically make a decision on what you're going to do with with the laws moving forward. So we're looking at history and making an educated decision that the baby booming generation in the 60s, they were only allowed to get to second base. Why? Because the federal government and the CIA said so. They will kill and destroy any Messiah type figure in the black community. This is why they will destroy the real thing and give us a fraudulent thing. Just like we had a black president. But that president wasn't for us. He was for Joe Biden and them, the old white racists, because they say, oh, he's clean. And you wonder why Barack Hussein Obama has not even taken pictures with Joe Biden. He don't like Joe Biden. He know what the real is. But somehow they're trying to hold on to that democracy. But democracy here in America is dead because the Civil War defeated the Dixiecratic Democratic South. And that's fact. So regime change, nation build is a must. Let me go ahead and reset the room. What up, America? What up, world? Welcome to a Better Black America podcast, the #1 urban podcast stateside and worldwide. Today is Monday, June 6th, 2022. And like I said, timing is everything. And it's the right time to regime change and nation build Black America, because it's not about them. It's about us and our association with the enemy. And we have enemies, many enemies. But this case, I'm talking about politically. I'm talking about association with these genocide organizations. I'm talking about baby killing organizations. I'm talking about white liberals, who is the worst threat to Black America. The worst threat. And why would a white person get mad when you say that? Because it's the truth. The truth hurts, but we have to keep it real, and the truth shall make us free. We got a plan. We got a plan. So keep tapping in. Keep tapping in. Because on today, the 6th, this equality, we're going to really figure this thing out. Because regime change is a must. The assassin bullets in the 60s literally, destroyed, our path and our upward mobility. And then if you look at the killings and the shootings and the Supreme Court going back into the books and seeing what they can fix, and they're going to fix it. So since you want to go back and, clean your closet out or somehow clear your conscience, we want to be in on those conversations, and we want to make sure that you go ahead and go all the way right. Don't just give us a little bit. See, that's the difference between our parents and grandparents. See, we have the knowledge and information, the savvy and the wit, the looks, the smiles, the attire to get indoors that a lot of Southern, hardworking, non-educated people could do. But knowledge is power, and God's people shall not perish due to the lack of it. So regime change is a must. And that's the difference. See, Obama talked about change. We're going to add an R to our regime change. I'm sure the homies will like that. But regime change, man. Think about it. Regime change. So once you regime change, we have to nation build. That's build or destroy. So right now, politically, we're destroying our political stronghold. We're cutting them out of our conversations because we need to be, and we want to be, and we have to be free agents. Could you imagine being a superior athlete, but you can't, do what these youngsters are doing right now? I'm a free agent, so I'm going to go have a meeting with the Lakers. I'm going to go have a meeting with Boston. I'm going to go have a meeting with Miami, and I'm going to select the team that I'm going to select. But remember, back in the day, before the Players Association, before any of these things, the players was just typically like slaves. Once the owner signed them and got that contract, it was a wrap. And the owner could do anything he wanted to do with his athlete, and that was slavery. But the NFL stepped up. Regime changed. They got a Players Association. So we need a Black Association, okay? And we the BAs, the Black Association, okay? And we have to be smart enough, wise enough, witty enough, savvy enough to have conversations of not only leveling up, but getting to the highest level without debating, without fighting. We seek solutions and resolutions. So if you got a mindset of saying, how you going to do that? Why don't you find a better way to ask a better question? And sometimes when you feel that way, you need to just sit back and listen. And if you can't do your own research, and trust the research because you want to disagree with somebody, you're deemed to be a sellout because Generation X has been indoctrinated to the baby boomers. So you have a lot of men fighting for the rights of their mother. You have a lot of men fighting for the rights of their wives and spouses. I know without a shadow of a doubt, I know men have to unfollow me because a woman punked them out, looked them in their face. You agree with him? Because she didn't want him smiling or having any hope. And that's real. The craziest thing ever. And we call ourselves men. This is why the real men are stepping up. Y'all thought y'all was real till the real ones came in the room. And y'all know when the real ones show up. And the real ones is on their way. Believe that. Because God's people shall not perish due to the lack of knowledge. And this is the right thing to do. We got time on our side. We got history on our side. And right now it's saying it's the right time to stand by and stand back politically in Black America, remove ourselves from the stronghold of the Democratic Party, which will separate us from this dual two-party civil war system so they can have a fair one. Yeah, we want y'all to have a fair one. Republicans and Democrats, y'all got to have a fair one. Because if you put us in it, it ain't fair because whoever get us win. And we know that. Y'all need a fair one. Y'all need a fair one. And that's real. And that's real. And I'm going to tell you, baby boomers, just because you feel the way that you feel, don't push that agenda on somebody else. Because one thing I do know is what baby boomers do. Baby boomers sit down and watch TV and are influenced by the news and all of this, right? And when they see somebody in political office that's around their age, that might share the same haircut, might have the same fair skin, they live vicariously through these people, whether they're corrupt or not, because they look at their lives versus their life. They're on TV politicking, and I'm at home about to eat some oatmeal and raisins. That's not a joke. That's real. Because what happened in the past is not good for the future. Every 10 years, things change. And if you was born early 70s and graduated late 80s, you kind of right there on the cups. You the little homie of the big homies, meaning you got all that information for the big homies. So now we got to lead our generation because clearly our generation have sold out. Where's our elected officials, in our generation? Literally skip. You went from very old to very young. But there's a mass exodus going on in the Democratic Party that we're going to talk about. This is why when you win, you don't have to trend. You don't have to be in front of it because it's a relevant conversation of upward mobility, a love conversation of change with solutions and resolutions. And that's the beauty of it. The solutions and the resolutions. So now if you're just talking about person, places, and things, we can't do that no more because that's the change. But when you talk about regime change, put something in front of it that's a word of action. And who's the regime? The regime is American two-party system, and our biggest threat as Black America is the Democratic Party. So they need a fair one. And it seems like whoever has us on their side boasts about it. Could you imagine a Democratic Party without Black people? And how is it the fact that the Democratic Party is the party of slavery? I'm going to say this again, the party of slavery. The party of slavery. The party of slavery is Democratic Party. That's the party of slavery. Now, it's not breaking news, but you need to know that. You need to know the truth. You need to know the truth. And the truth is coming out, and the truth is undefeated. We're dealing with absolute truths. We're bringing a moral compass into the community because we must stop the killing. It must stop. So this is why we're building our coalitions to strengthen the community, to save the next generation. Yeah. And it's not flesh and blood, it's powers and principalities, because when you look at the powers and principalities, evildoers in high places, you see exactly that the science works to a T. And for Joe Biden to get on TV and say, follow the science, he think we're still dumb. He think we can't reason rights. He has no clue that under their watch, they literally destroyed this country. And Black America, we're tapping out. We don't want to be guilty by association. We don't want to help you anymore with your party because our ancestors are telling us to stand by and stand back because of the atrocities of what the Democratic Party has allowed to do in our communities. We thought things would change. We assumed the lesser of the two evils. But like Kamala Harris said, we're getting exactly what we're getting. And when I come out with the list of all the Black cabinet members that was associated with Kamala Harris, Vice President's office, and Joe Biden, it's astonishing. These are the things. This is the real news. So it's sad that we got to, break news on podcasts, but just tap in. Just tap in because we're about weeks away from dropping these real landmines into the world through YouTube. So just keep tapping in. And I see my numbers. I'm not even posting on a Better Black America TV, but I'm getting subscribers. So go to a Better Black America TV, YouTube, subscribe there. And when I drop the next video, I'm going to put it out as a premiere, as a feature. Because we got something going on. Because God's people shall not perish due to the lack of knowledge. The Democratic Party is it's literally the devil's party. No one in the Congressional Black Caucus could actually go into any church, more importantly, a Catholic church or some type of archdiocese, because the Catholic Church has been paying out. So they're cleansing their soul. So while their regime changing the nation bill, we need to do the same thing. Because I never seen a time where people really cared about change. So they tried to tell the other groups back in the civil rights to pull themselves up by their own bootstraps. And right now here in America, man, we got boots, we got straps, we got everything. And I'm just trying to get you to understand, just look up and understand that we cannot be guilty by association with any group that's a genocide organization, a baby killing operation, or anything that includes white liberals, more importantly, white Jews. Because they have us with them. They're fighting a class fight. And if we're fighting a class fight with them, that means we can't grow. So it comes a time where a man has to make a decision. Do I make my own decisions based on me being adult and me being connected with the Most High? See, if you have no connection with the Most High, you would just let somebody drive you to hell just because. Just because mama and them did that, just because daddy and them did it. It was a different time back then. Assimilation was a theory back then. But now assimilation is factual. You can't do it if you Black. Because if you do it and you're Black, look at every elected Black politician. Who do they represent? They don't represent Black America. Even the Congressional Black Caucus members do not represent Black America. We have zero representation. Hear what I'm saying? Zero representation. And we are not going to sit back and be associated with a party that basically forces us to vote for the lesser of the two evils, meaning they had to convince us that they were lesser than the two evils because they know that they're not. Just on name alone. Devil rule. Come on, man. That's the craziest thing ever. Demo. And we are educators and smart. And this is the thing that really gets us. Either the baby boomers have sold 100% completely out, or they just don't know. I'm going to say they just don't know. This is when you take the keys. Because I remember when my grandmother, on my father's side, when we had to take the keys from her. Because she used to crack the lights in our cars because when she parked in front of the house, she didn't have a car with cameras and things like that. We didn't either, but at least we look back. She would just use the other car. Boom. Okay, that's where I'm at and I'm fine. So she used the other car as a bumper. If I touch it, then that's close enough. I'll move forward. And then eventually DMV said, no, she can't see. Then eventually, we put rims on the car and some sounds. But my point is, all good things come to an end. And all while the Democratic Party, y'all had a good run. OK, so we want a regime change and nation build without incidents because it's been a long time. You have been found out. It's the God's honest truth. So what we going to do with it? So I'm just asking you to condition your mind of being a part of something in the 21st century that prior generations have bragged about. We got all the data. So we're going to keep coming at you. We got solutions and we got a plan. So keep tapping in. Yeah, you could go ahead and start subscribing now because, we're podcasters. This is what we do. So you're going to always find podcasting on your streaming services. And then actually I got Bushan Glover's podcast on YouTube and I haven't really thrown that out there yet. I got like 3 subscribers, but I'm waiting till I get 100 shows over there. And it's pretty much podcasts that I do on a daily basis that's uploaded to a particular account on YouTube. I mean, we have multiple channels. So man, regime change, nation build. Regime change and nation build. Time to make it happen. We can no longer be guilty by association. We are building and not destroying. And the American two-party system, you guys deserve a fair one. So we're going to sit this one out and see what happened because we know without shadow of a doubt, whichever team we sign with is the team that's going to win. We know this and we see this and we have the American history to prove it. Because I don't think the baby boomers realize that all the information that was privy in the 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, 2000s is prevalent now. So if things change, why do we feel like we have to still be a part of that change? Because now what was good and cool to drink is now poison. So now you're still feeding poisons to generations to come. Why? Is it the fact that you don't love them or you just don't know? Because everyone that's an adult has broken up with someone, somebody, or something. So as a people, we don't have to be married or the bastard child or the liability to the Democratic Party. See, the Republican Party see us as an asset, always has and always will be, because they're a capitalist. But when you're dealing with socialists and social measures, you need a bottom group. You need people to come into the country. I just got here. I need help. Where do I go? You need an open border and a continuous flux of illegal immigrants to replace the ones that are leaving. They know the data. When you have over 25 black cabinet members walk away from the Democratic Party, don't nobody say nothing, then that means there's constituents is walking away as well. But then you have these baby boomers, make sure you vote for who, what, where, when, why, and how. No more just because. Just because they let y'all sit in the front of the bus, it took something for that to happen. Just because y'all can vote, it took a lot for that to happen. And if they killed you to vote, that means they didn't want you to vote. And if they're going to let you vote and they won't kill you, that means you got to vote for them. You see how they play you? The game is chess, not checkers. I don't care how many years you taught school. That's a curriculum. That doesn't mean you're smart. All it does is shows the fact that you would just do what you're told. So now your soul has sold out so much that you telling people to go do something, but you can't tell them who to do it for, why, what, where, when, why, how. Just do it just because. No, those days are over. We don't do just because no more. Why? See, this is what happens when you have a free, liberated people. And I'm going to close with this because Willie Lynch said, you keep them Negroes dumb, stupid, because you don't want to ruin your good economic. See, if you keep them dumb and stupid, they'll do everything you tell them to do. And you go out there in that field and say, boy, I want this whole yard done by sundown. You understand me, nigga? And he'll say, yes, sir, bossy. Yes, sir. Yes, sir, bossy. See, that's that dumb Democrat. Because you imagine a conservative Negro that's educated on that same cotton field. And they say, hey, boy, excuse me, sir, I'm not a boy, I'm a man. Oh, man, you're losing that good economic right there. Excuse me, man. Clear this field by sundown. Do you understand? See, this is what an educated Negro would say. Well, let me look at my watch. So according to the time, it will be dark in approximately 30 to 40 minutes. So I will not be able to see. And I'll just start in the morning at sun up around 6:30 or 7. Is that okay with you, sir? That meant they lost their good economic. And that's us today. Just because we were born with God's favor, because timing is everything, we cannot allow those who were born at a different time to convince us to do what they did, even though we see them subservient and liabilities, not understanding that they are trying to get us to be lifers. If we select this party or if we don't do this, we're going to be lifers. And we're going to be responsible for killing the black race. And we're going to be responsible because we had a plan. There's no way 9 series DNA should lose, period. The only way it loses is if it competes against the 2 6s, because 12 trumps 6. So we're going to 12 trumps 9. We're going to stand by and stand back. Okay. And we're going to sit over there and we're going to watch y'all farrowing. But this time we're going to promote it. You know, we're going to be the promoter, the pay-per-view. We're going to be the ones that get all the money off of you guys fighting and performance. This is what regime change and nation build look like. And with that being said, man, I'm your man, Bouchon Glover, and thank you for tuning in to A Better Black America podcast, the #1 urban podcast stateside and worldwide. Today is June 6, 2022. That's the show. Peace out. God bless. Regime change, nation build. Think about it. 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 Think about it.